that they're not really mountains, really. I'm expecting, Mount St. Helens kind of mountains. But these are just like black bear berries and trees and shonies. Anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what's happening right now. Every Thursday I get in here, 4 o'clock, 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And that's going to happen, but not for too many more weeks here. Probably sometime in October, I'll switch over to What in the World. We're going to cover crazy stories. Drugs will probably show up, But anyway, cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis legalization is being pushed in the state of North Dakota. We've got Measure 5 to vote on, so get out to vote. Is that what they say? Get ready, get hyped, get people into voting yes on Measure 5. We'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news at 4:20. North Dakota, we got stuff to unpack. It's going to be fun. The bishops have stuff to say about cannabis. The coppers and the medical professionals, the geniuses that know everything, they've decided to step away and say nah on the cannabis. Of course, they got really just kind of vague reasons for why. I mean, it's just canned reasons. There's anything new. But my thing from a medical professional position, if you're not equally spending the same amount of time trumpeting how alcohol and tobacco should be removed, right, from people's ability, I mean, it should just have less play. If you're not trumpeting about the negatives of that, then it doesn't hold water for you to spout about this. Because everybody knows that the devastation in the wake of tobacco and alcohol use is unprecedented. It's documented. It's historically ruined millions of homes, caused all kinds of disruptions in our society. And yet, this Steph, I think that's her name, who wants me to take her word for gold about cannabis, yet I ain't heard her say one thing about how we need to get alcohol maybe, regulated a little differently, or at least admit that it's nowhere near, and you're cool with this being legal. If you're cool with that being legal, shut up. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think you got any sort of platform if you think alcohol is all right to buy and consume and, of your own freedom, for sure. How about underwriting? Wait a minute, boy, I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday, Antioch Church. 10 a.m. we do a recovery class if you got a monkey on your back, or you've kicked that monkey off your back, but you can feel every Sunday, Antioch Church. 10 a.m. we do a recovery class if you got a monkey on your back, or you've kicked that monkey off your back, but you can feel that little banana eater pulling on your pant leg. Come on through. I know a guy upstairs can take care of you. 11 a.m. worship. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Black Cottage Alchemy, 1,200 megs of locally grown hemp whipped up into this fun butter for your outer body. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Learn about underwriting opportunities with nonprofit Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 FM, KRFFLP. Increase public visibility. Create a positive image. Like me. Underwriting may increase website traffic and possibly offer tax deductions. To learn more, please message us at our website. At our website. Nonprofit, Radio Free Fargo. 95.9 is listener supported. That's you, my friend. We receive no grant monies presently. And traditional advertising is no option for nonprofits. We do have underwriting, which is different. Radio Free Fargo believes in trying to present the widest spectrum of music and me. If you believe in community radio and would like to help, visit our website, www.radiofreefargo.org. Click on the donating button. As always, thank you for your support, your athletic support. Please tell others about Radio Free Fargo. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm your boy Wilson, fresh off vacation, so I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing, but I do know that I've got hands, and there's blisters on them already because I've been off the sticks. And so, man, I got stick duty. I'm back on the saddle. Speaking of saddles, let's get you going on some music. Here's the hi-hats, Southern Sun, 95.9. Yes, indeed. Southern Sun. Hi-hats. That's pretty cool. KRFF 95.9. Radio Free Fargo.org. We're streaming everywhere on the blue and green marble. Get you some of this. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We had some country this morning. We've got no Stinky Arts Music Mart today, but there is stuff happening. I just got ADHD. I always forget to look. I can't remember. You look. It's on the website, radiofreefargo.org. Click on shows, and you can find out what's going on today. I do know Fred, the AI robot spelled with a P, is before me, which, you know, that's how it should be. Robots before me, but not for thee. Anyway, we're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news at 420. Don't forget, New Economic Frontier wants you to vote on Measure 5. I want you to vote on Measure 5. It's the cannabis legalization measure. That'll happen November 5 on Measure 5. 5 on 5. Keep it 55th Street. If you know, you know. But anyway, vote on 5, would you? And tell some people. And we'll talk about it at 420. You know, if you listen to Trump, Trump's cool with it now. Everybody? Okay. I got this crazy story. And this is, like I said, just a teaser of what'll happen when I start doing the What in the World show. Maybe at 420 I'll do like a little, you know, like a little something, you know, every week. Just to keep us, you know, glued in. But until then, it'll be crazy stories like this. And I'm sure you've probably heard of this, but you probably haven't heard my take because I'm going to make it up right now. Man 70 dies after Florida surgeon removes liver instead of spleen. And that's what just, I mean, I remember as a kid, we would joke, like the adults at the table would talk about how you went in to have your foot removed and they took both your hands. You're like, what? You know, and it was kind of just a play on the anesthesia. You know, you would be knocked out. You don't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. You come out, you know, that's why, like, they start talking like I came out of the anesthesiologist at the dentist office and I feel like I should, you know, get a rape kit done. You don't know. You know, but a doctor, I would expect him to know the difference between a liver and a spleen. I mean, they're spelled different. You're a doctor, bruh. That's what you're supposed to know, okay? All right, so according to the family's lawyer, there's evidence that this is not the first time the old doctor doc has removed the wrong organ during surgery, okay? Every once in a while we get a case where facts are so egregious and dangerous to the local public that we feel like we should stop what we're doing. I'm about to ruin something that you're used to. Okay, hold on. This is one of those situations. And what was wild here, William Bryan from Alabama, he died in a Florida hospital after he was allegedly convinced by this doctor to get a spleen removed. All right? He basically made him do it in his mind. The guy's like, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like it. I kind of like the liver. I mean, the liver never done me no problem. Hey, listen, buddy, you got to get rid of that thing. Okay, bud, you're the doc. And then he takes the spleen. Takes out the wrong organ. Okay. So, the family was reluctant to go forward with the surgery, but they were eventually persuaded. All right. And he didn't make it. You know, they removed his liver instead of his spleen, and he died. When the autopsy was conducted, his spleen was still there, and his liver was gone. All right. He bled out on the operating table and died. Surgery, the doctor told her husband's spleen was so diseased that it was 4 times larger than bigger than usual and had migrated to the other side. So, I don't know what's going on, but it sounds crazy. All right. Apparently, it was a fairly routine-looking cyst that was there. It probably would have been very treatable. This is crazy. But I don't know what more I can say about that. So I won't, really, because I don't have anything more to say about it. But that, and they say, like, if you want to go on Reddit and really dive down into this for fun, Anybody else with him wouldn't have the vantage point to know. He can literally be just running havoc, running amok upon your uncle, your grandma. Pick a loved one. And this guy's just scooting around in there like he's playing Operation from the garage sale game. And nobody can, they're not a witness to anything, yet they're very close to him. So they said it was highly likely, that it could happen and not, and everybody not also be complicit. Like they actually, they weren't complicit. I got something else for you, though. And again, you probably have heard of this, but I got a few more minutes here. Again, you listen to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. 420, we're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news. We've got people speaking against the cannabis in North Dakota as we get closer to November. And it's kind of ironic because I remember speaking very nicely about the law enforcement of our fine state and of their decision to not go lame. And they maybe were I don't know, saving advertisement money or just strategically waiting. I don't know. But it's kind of a bummer to me. But anyway, we're going to be at a musical break here really shortly. Wells Fargo employee found dead at desk 4 days after last clocking in. Now, that's crazy. But, I mean, it's like, what kind of job did she have that nobody needed to check on her? I mean, I want that job. I want a job I can be dead for 4 days and nobody wonders about it. I mean, really. I mean, how many days can I sit at work? Just the toilet paper rolls, just keep running out. Spills on the floor. They're like, I'm sure he'll get to it. He's got to be, he's got to be here. It's like, well, how long? How long? I say if you feel like you're in a dead-end job and you could die 4 days in your desk and before anybody would find out or care, get a new job, bruh. Get a new job. All right. Well, I'm going to play you some music here. This is brand new from the Shady Horns, Kanika and Talk right now on 95.9. Sup, that's Lil Mama, KRFF 95.9, Radio Free Fargo.org, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, 420. We open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that is happening it's like right now. It's right now. Programming on KRFF LP, Radio Free Fargo 95.9 is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Lutheran. Flatland Guitars, your full-service guitar shop, and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, PRS, Smith Guitars, and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment, they take trade-ins, and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Lutheran on Facebook, or come by and visit them in person at their location at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. Well, you know what that means, huh? Boom. So anyway, we'll see you on the other side of this,
Hey, it's Phil from Cannaheads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
Hey. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my little show, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We're going to cover probably a lot in North Dakota here. I've got other fun stuff. I don't know if we'll get to it all, but just let me say this quick, just in case. If you want to work at Home Depot, they're going to stop testing workers for cannabis and limit drug screening. There you go. Because I know a few of you people just were dying to work at Home Depot, and I get it. Now, North Dakota, as you know, Measure 5, cannabis legalization on the ballot, brought to you by New Economic Frontier. I think it's Frontier. I haven't mentioned anything like this in 2 weeks. I've almost forgot what I'm even doing here. Again, though, let me preface this. I came out with a glowing show about how the officers weren't going to blatantly dismiss cannabis. But no. they've volleyed back and they've brought some health professionals with them to just kind of give you the same kind of tired thing. So we'll go through it a little bit, and I'll punch holy holes in it for fun. And again, I mean, it's not like I'm ruining the movement by saying cops and healthcare officials want you to not vote for it. But again, these guys are also never talking about how horrible alcohol is, and they should do something about that. Right? They don't ask for legislation restricting that more. And the devastation in the wake of alcohol and tobacco is crazy. Obvious. Right? So it's just your words don't mean anything. And then again, there's just really no. So here we go. So they did a joint news release, the coppers, and who else we got? Chief of police, the sheriffs, deputies. They have come together, bless their hearts, to oppose the cannabis measure known as Measure Phi on the November ballot. Don't buy into the argument that legalization of recreational cannabis will free up law enforcement to focus on more serious crime. In fact, quite the opposite will happen, he says. But he's just talking. He don't know. I mean, he's got no. I mean, what does he know? What does the Mandan police chief really know? In fact, quite the opposite will happen based on a bunch of statistics he can prove. Oh, he didn't add any. Oh, where's the proof of this argument, right? Because I can say the opposite of what you say will happen. So anyway, legalization will lead to an increase in traffic accidents and fatalities. So deaths, right? There'll be more deaths, he says. And so believe him. But again, here's the thing. You can't trump it. Don't make this thing legal when you promote, allow, and even drink yourself. And it's just not good. There's nothing good. I mean, just think of all the money being spent on trying to just get off of the alcohol. Tremors, DTs. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy things associated with it. Everything that they mention that cannabis is supposed to do. So how can I take you serious when you don't take it serious? Like I said, the North Dakota Medical Association, they emphasize health risk of the measure, which is so funny because I believe that I would think that they're for medical cannabis, North Dakota Medical Association. I don't know what they think about it. I feel like maybe they're against it. But if they're for it, how can you push something that causes all these problems then? See, it don't make any sense. It's a bunch of blah, 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 blah. All right? It's just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Studies have shown that frequent use of cannabis is associated. What studies? First of all, you don't add any. Because I can show you studies too. I got studies. All right. So, impaired cognitive function, cancer, right? Causes cancer. Makes you crazy. Psychosis. I mean, they throw the book at it. But again, I can get medical cannabis, though, for cancer, for mental health issues, anxiety, depression. I can get medically prescribed cannabis that Dr. Stephanie is saying causes the very issues. So what are you even talking about? You got to make more sense. Tim Blazel, president of the Hospital Association, they said should take a cautious approach, which again, there's nothing cautious about alcohol consumption. It's in the wind. You're punished if you overdo it, right? I mean, they'll certainly tax that fine to no end. They'll definitely make you pay, but they'll also let you pay, right? They'll let you pay and continue to pay. So that would increase the prevalence of substance abuse, which, again, from the Hospital Association, there is medical usage for cannabis. There just is. All right? And the ultimate argument was other people wanted to profit off people needing medicine, so they made their own and demonized the plant. I could go on and on. So he says instead of legalizing, we should focus on prevention, education, and providing adequate resources for those who need help with substance use and mental health issues. However, if you look at a lot of places those taxes from cannabis sales more than cover the cash for substance use and mental health issues. I mean, like I said, the thrift stores in Colorado look like a Gordman's because of how much tax dollars gets funneled back into things that we don't do. We're not doing it. You know, you ever been into a St. Vinny de Paul? I mean, I went in there and got head lice. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, St. Vinny. I love you. I do like thrift stores, and I do like that one. I'm just saying. You know, tax dollars does things from cannabis sales that you guys aren't. I mean, that a lot of people aren't doing. They're not doing it. It's not getting done. You know, so you advocate for less alcohol consumption. Maybe make it harder. You know, why don't you start regulating that, and then coming up with a way to put money into all this other stuff. But you won't, you know, because you're not going to do that. So, Steve Bakken, chair, he said that half the states in the country have legalized it. He highlighted the news this week that former DT said he would vote for a ballot measure to legalize cannabis in Florida, and Trump has switched on that in that regard. She says, okay, so here's what Molly Barnes, vice president of Northern Improvement Company, right? She's the highway and heavy equipment protector. So we need to take everything she says about cannabis very seriously. I mean, if Molly wasn't building with concrete, she would be out in the fields, you know, with cultivars and, creating new strains. And how can we direct sunlight properly? Let's look at the fertilizer. Now, what? Why are we listening to her about cannabis? You're not going to listen to me about highway and heavy equipment contracting. I mean, I'll tell you about some stuff. You know, what do you want to know? The big tractors, front load, back load? What are we doing? I mean, I'll pump you full of sunshine, but I don't know the first thing about highway and heavy equipment contracting. So I just don't understand, why she gets to speak against the measure and we listen. So she says cannabis is now much more potent than the variety found at Woodstock in the 1960s. Cannabis is no longer harmless, she says. She cited increases in emergency room visits, impaired driving, and mental health concerns among states that have legalized cannabis. Bakken says he sees legal cannabis in North Dakota's future, believes it's better to get out ahead of an issue instead of waiting for it to become a problem. Okay, so, I mean, same cats are kind of out with this thing. I always think it's funny, North Dakota Petroleum Council, they're against it, which it's kind of funny because hemp could replace them. General contracting, they probably get hemmed up with testing. They'd probably get more workers, blah, 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 blah. Let's see, the Farmers Union, kind of weird. Catholic Conference, that's interesting. They've came out against it. South Dakota voters, they'll also get to vote. So will Florida. So that's interesting. And so there you have it. It's just... Who are you? I mean, in my opinion, you're not convincing anybody that's already thinking about it. Either way. But it does kind of, it feels like a little bit of peer pressure there. They're putting a squeeze on you, But don't get discouraged. Vote yay on 5. And we'll talk about it now. North Dakota bishops advocate against cannabis legalization. I am a Pentecostal all day, even at night. And I'm going to vote on cannabis. I think it's got a bad rap. I think there's a lot of things that they're pumping you full of synthetic, pharmaceutical, blah, 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 that could be alleviated and made better with something that is a natural growing thing. I just, and having, all these issues myself and not utilizing actual medicine, is neither here nor there. I mean, some days I think I need to get back on the Adderall, but whatever. again, if you can find something that allows you to live a full life without getting caught up into that rat race. Why, and then when you talk about legality, like affordability, it's just going to be more affordable to have it recreational. And so the amount of people that can benefit medically now because it's recreational is just going to be through the roof and way higher than any sort of negative that's going to come from it. So, the bishops, they got to figure out that, that whole little boy thing out first before I'm going to start listening to them about cannabis. Sorry. Get your own house in order, Bishop, and then talk to me about a plant that grows out of the ground. All right, so that's my stance. Man, I feel like I almost canceled myself. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm back. I'm feeling a little froggy today. I've had a couple Thursdays off. So anyway, the Catholic bishops, they're urging the faithful to vote no on a state ballot proposal. And I'm interested to see what they think. They think individuals, families, and communities. So I feel like you could just say people, that'd cover it all, but will be significantly harmed, So they just say that. They're not citing anything, So Measure 5 will be on the ballot November 5th. 21 and over to grow, sell, and possess, and use. We've tried it before. So Bishop John took a stance against him. They anchored their opposition with the words of the Catechism, okay, which teaches that the use of drugs inflicts very grave damage on human health and life. Their use, except on strictly therapeutic grounds, is a grave offense. But it seems like there's booze in the church, though. I mean, I don't know how much wine they're drinking out the goblet, but, how much damage on their human health are they doing? I feel like I've even seen bishops smoke. Because I'm like next to a couple churches. I don't know. I feel like I've seen the good father burn a stogie, but that could be in another town. So anyway, Kagan and Folda, they highlight that research shows that regular use damages the lungs and can harm the immune system. Again, over the years of doing this show, I have given so many articles on the opposite of that. So it's like, well, what are we doing? The thing is, though, is you can't show the deaths like you can and the statistics of violence and unrest in the home and social disruption and just the devastation and the chaos in the wake of alcohol use that's legal. So it's just the hypocrisy is too high for me to hear anything. You can't convince me. So again, North Dakota bishops advocate against it. So we've got the cops and the Catholics and the health professionals. So there you have it. Now, this is interesting. This is another little thing about North Dakota. Florida's in here, too. This is MJ Biz Daily, and I don't even know what this means. Longtime cannabis advocacy groups absent from 2024 ballot in Florida and North Dakota. Okay? I don't know what that means. Marijuana Policy Project and Drug Policy Alliance are conspicuously absent from the adult use campaigns in Florida and North Dakota. There's a line here that says long simmering shift in responsibility. Again, I don't know what that means. I don't even know if it's good or bad. But apparently there's fundraising woes. Many longtime legalization organizations are suffering. Apparently the torch has been passed, and it's now the dispensaries. So I guess that's good. That's good. Now, the one thing I thought was weird is Bakken emphasized this year's effort is from the grassroots and funded and run by residents and businesses in North Dakota where voters are suspicious of outsiders. It wasn't really, some people would argue that Pure Dakota's kind of got the monopoly. There's nothing small about it, really. You know, I mean, grassroots, I'm thinking like, you know, a nickel from you and a dollar from him. Nobody gets paid. They do it for the love of the thing. And I don't see that with this one. Again, I don't know why you would call yourself grassroots. Yeah, because I just don't think that. I mean, because it seems like I did an article where you only got like $100 from the people. So I feel like without contributions from the little guy, you know, the easier it is for you to do based on your resources limits the ability to use grassroots, I think. Again, I don't know. I'm just talking. Cannabis moment. Missouri regulators launch raids of nearly 50 stores looking for intoxicating hemp edibles, which is kind of wild because Missouri is legal for cannabis. All right, but this crazy, you know, it's just the burgeoning onslaught of all of these synthetic, funny cannabinoids, right? So, a health regulator walked into a busy Prime Fuel gas station in Sedalia Tuesday morning, asked the clerk if there was any intoxicating hemp-derived THC edibles in the store. All right, products the governor banned September 1st. 2 employees learned the store had already taken the products off and were, according to the regulator's report on the visit, they were being stored in a box in the office. The report says regulators called the owner. He voluntarily agreed to destroy the products, but that's not how the owner describes the incident. He seemed to be forced into it. The owner had boxed up the products so he could return them to the wholesaler for a refund. Instead, they told him his manager had to pour bleach over about $5,000 worth of product, process that took 2 hours. On Wednesday, the Missouri Hemp Trade Association attorney sent a letter to the general counsel saying the regulators deprived the owner of his right to tell his side of the story to a judge. The law is extremely clear that these guys are not authorized to destroy product or to demand the others do so without a court order. Out of the 44 facilities, regulators found unregulated psychoactive cannabis products. Boop, boop, boop. 4 facilities have refused to embargo or discard products. All right. So the association said it's heard of 3 reports of raids. That's insane. I mean, and it's in Missouri, and it's legal anyway. You know, so this is that other thing, like Delta 8 drinks. So it's all the hemp products that snuck up, but it's kind of funny because now you got a state where it's legal, and we got issues. All right. Now, this is kind of interesting. Cannabis moment. Veterans group condemns Missouri officials for raiding VFW post over cannabis on 9/11. Crazy, right? 9/11, veterans group gets raided. A local Missouri veterans organization condemning state regulators, claiming they raided their post to search for unapproved cannabis beverages immediately after lowering our flag to half staff to honor those lost in the terrorist attack and resulting war. They carried out the unscheduled inspection of the VFW on Wednesday. They feel the group's characterization of the action as a raid is inaccurate and misleading. Facebook post said they sell drinks that are in compliance. 0 product was embargoed or destroyed. 2 investigators found that the VFW place did not post an immediate cause for concern, specifically in regard to Missouri children. Well, that's hilarious. Of course not. You know, VFW didn't claim products were seized, but it emphasized that members felt it improper for regulators to take the steps they did on an especially sensitive day for military veterans. And that's true. It's crazy. It's crazy. So anyway, this is so the VFW post, they kind of chided them. They said, we are also curious how raiding a VFW canteen for these products achieves the governor's goal of protecting children. That's kind of funny. All right, what do we got here? This is interesting. This title is Cocaine was in Europe nearly 2 centuries earlier than previously thought. Well, let's find out when it was. Okay, let's see. Noting evidence remains from the 1600s. Well, that's a long time ago, but as I was expecting it way more. This is from NPR, and we're going to about wrap this thing up. You've been listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. You're listening to KRFF 95.9. We're streaming everywhere, RadioFreeFargo.org. It's a beautiful day here in Fargo, North Dakota. It's a little hot, kind of windy, but man, it's September, so dig it. Customs officers find $5 million worth of meth disguised as watermelons at Mexico border. Now, Google these pics, and you'll stink and laugh, because they're basically plastic watermelon beach balls that are full of methamphetamines. So they were in for a rather, and I seen comments that said, especially if you look at this picture, that you have to be on meth to think that people think that's going to be a watermelon. I mean, it's a silly, it obviously looks like something that ain't what it's something, you know? Anyway, August 20th news release, the agency said that a 29-year-old man driving a tractor attempted to enter the U.S. hauling a shipment manifested for watermelons. It was during the additional exam that they were offloaded, looked at them a little harder, and found 1,200 packages of meth wrapped in paper and disguised as the fruit. So yeah, it's funny what people will try to do, and it's funny because they say drug cartels continue to evolve. You know, well, stuffing meth in watermelon-looking beach balls and calling them watermelon—that's not very smart. All right, that's just not very smart. I will say this: cannabis moment also. Marijuana compound has anti-aging effect on the brain. Study of mice dosed with THC finds. Authors of a new study could be the basis for an effective anti-aging and pro-cognitive medication. Now we're talking long-term low dose, I suppose, not blunting it up, not super blunts. But anyway, like I said, Home Depot. If you're looking to work at Home Depot, but you can't put down the pot in depot, it's kind of funny the word pot is in Home Depot, and they've stopped testing you for it. That makes sense. Shout out to Home Depot. Bless their hearts. New Economic Frontier has gathered enough signatures for you to vote yes on Measure 5 in November. That is approximately so many odd days, like a month or two. No. A month? Yeah, a little over a month. That's crazy. Yeah, the election, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? That's going to be interesting. Well, programming on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo has been underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have a full service for drummers, including repair, custom builds, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Small, Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5. Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check drummersjourney.com. They have themselves a little profile on Facebook. Now, we got some new tunes. If you know North Mississippi All-Stars, this is the drummer, Cody Dickinson. Can't Feel It Home, 95.9. Can't Feel It Home. Cody Dickinson. 95.9. Radio Free Fargo. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 megs of locally grown hemp whipped up into a fun tub with other stuff for your outer body. Do your outer body a favor. Black Cottage Alchemy. Thank you for sponsoring this show. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit. And I show him props every Sunday. Antioch Church, 10 a.m. recovery class. If you got a monkey on your back, or you've knocked that big bad monkey off, but you can feel him pulling on your pant leg. Recovery class for you. 11 a.m. worship. I'm on stick duty. I've had a break from reality the last couple of weeks. I don't even know, man. It's been hard getting it back together, but I'm getting it back together. I'll be back in next Thursday, so no Stinky Arts Music Mart today. There is stuff coming up today, though. Google RadioFreeFargo.org and click on calendar. And it'll tell you, okay? Again, educate yourselves on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on those benefits. Tell them about the measure number 5 that they can vote on in November number 5 to allow people that can't afford medical cards like me to utilize cannabis a little more freely. You know, instead of relying on like just really expensive non-fun stuff. However, I mean, I'll go to my grave talking up CBN. I mean, if you want to get a little night-night in, CBN's your friend, my friend. I don't know where to begin with CBN. He's my friend. Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson is kind of running out of stuff to talk about. So, I'm going to ramble a few more things. Again, vote yes on Measure 5. Tell your people. Tell your grandma that way more elderly people are utilizing cannabis. For sure. It's becoming hip. If you've got a bad hip, it's becoming hip to use cannabis for your bad hip. Because I said so. And if I said so, you know, I mean, you could take me just as seriously as Steph. But anyway, yeah, the honeymoon period was over. I thought, well, man, officers aren't making a stand. It's pretty late in the game. But, boy, they snuck in there. They snuck in there, didn't they? That's all right. That's all right. We'll take a little negativity. Way more positivity happening, if you ask me. But anyway, I'm going to jump out. I'm going to jump out the gate, my friends. I'll be back in here next Thursday. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. Judgment Day, David Allen. Peace.